Welcome to the Metalness Show.
The place that gives you the reviews you've always wanted.
And or needed.
You can say I'm just a gringo. You can say I'm just a man. I live outside the law, doing anything I can.
First off, we got Manowar and their new album, The Lord of Steel.
This is your usual Manowar album. Simple rhyme scheme, metal themes, killing shit, you know.
Manowar. They got their deep, low, slow, crunchy guitars and their awesome drum beats like usual.
And one thing is that they bring on the usual lyrics. Those lyrics that are almost a parody of heavy metal itself, yet something you could still take seriously.
They always, always, always take you on a journey.
And you have to be impressed by the fact that these guys are in their 50s, and yet they're still putting out some decent music. Nice.
Alright, recommended song for this, El Gringo.
This is a Wild West meets Power Rangers kind of song. Something that just makes you smile when you hear it.
We give this album 6 out of 10.
If you haven't heard Manowar before, go ahead and pick up this album. You're gonna like it. But if you have heard Manowar, you're not gonna hear anything new. Next album we got up is Morgoth's new album, Cursed to Live.
More like Cursed to Listen.
If you don't know, these guys used to be death metal, but they slowly transitioned into an industrial band.
And they really, really should have stayed that way.
The word around this album is that these guys are going back to their original death metal roots. But listening to it, we don't feel like it's death metal.
Feels more thrash and speed.
And as for the thrash parts, it's a nice slow thrash. And I really like that thrash because you have to really put effort into making that brutal.
And, oh, they really get that done right.
But then, they transition into speed metal, which is just random
chaos. And not the good kind, like Slayer.
We're gonna have to give these guys a 4 out of 10.
Morgoth, please, return to your industrial roots. That was when you guys were really awesome.
Next up, we got a greatest hits CD. It's Evocation's new album, Evoked from Demonic Depths.
It's more like an autobiographical re-recording of their early demos from 1991 to 1992.
And this is true death metal. I haven't heard death metal this pure since,
Death?
Right.
Alright, yeah, it's got the traditional death metal feels with the fast-paced riffs and the deep guitars, and it's got some great dramatic intros and lots of blasting.
And the blasting is really the worst part of this music. It can get a bit messy at times. But all in all, you have to say that this is true death metal. You can tell that there was no outside influence at all whatsoever.
It's like they didn't give a shit and were just writing to be brutal. Though, honestly, it's not really my cup of tea.
Listening to this, I'm really conflicted. This is pure, unadulterated death metal in its truest form. Yet their newer stuff is so much more refined. I prefer their newer stuff over this. Yet it's interesting to get this perspective on them. We're going to give this album a 6 out of 10.
This gives you an interesting perspective into the roots of Evocation. If you like pure, raw death metal, pick up this album. Gojira, 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 Gojira.
Ah, Gojira.
Gojira.
Alright, well next up we have Gojira's new album, Les Fonds Sauvage.
And for those of you that don't understand French, it means the wild child.
The vocals in this music, they're so angry. I don't just hear what he's saying, I feel it.
They're also real dark and eerie, but it fits so well.
It's this type of music where you just want to headbang and never stop.
These guys touch so many different metal genres, it's hard to peg them. It's like they're walking a tightrope made out of death metal. They're using a balance stick with industrial influences. And on either side of them is progressive metal and some of the core metals. And they just balance it so well. It's wonderful.
It's the kind of music where you just have to close your eyes just so you can absorb it. The recommended track for this one, Born in Winter. The whole album is great, but this one really stood out from the rest.
We give this album a 9 out of 10.
It's mainstream, but we don't care. It's the kind of album where you just want to blast it 24/7.
Gojira! Out today we have Six Magics and their new album, Falling Angels.
This is a South American band that comes from the country of Chile.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Their female lead has clean vocals, while their guitars have great rhythm and melodies.
And that's really where the focus is, on the guitar and vocals.
They have a sound bordering between progressive metal and hard rock.
It's the kind of music that you want to go into a dark room alone and listen to. Not very heavy, but still very pleasing to the ears.
If you want something to kind of chill to, go check these guys out. Pick up the album.
This next album's hitting stores tomorrow. It's the new Kataklysm CD. Iron Will, 20 Years Determined.
For those of you that have not listened to Kataklysm before, they're straight up melodic death metal.
And as we know, melodic death metal is the best kind of death metal.
Their vocals, guitars, and drums mix together so well.
And they have these dual guitar solos that shoot you right in your chest, go up, pick you up by the shirt, and throw you against the wall with their awesomeness.
The rhythm is a little repetitive, but their melodies more than make up for this.
This band is still holding strong. They're sticking to their usual formula, but it's still a new awesome package. Pick up the CD today. If you guys saw last week's episode, then you guys know that we made an appeal for you to send us in your music so that we could review it here.
First band we've chosen is from Denver, Colorado. It's a doom metal band called In the Company of Serpents.
I want to say that these guys are like a doom version of Black Sabbath.
Their vocalist has a definite Ozzy sound to them.
But it's not a rip-off of Ozzy, it just happens to sound like Ozzy.
They have real crunchy guitars and nice sinister riffs, though their drums a little bit sketchy.
But they are low-key.
They keep everything pretty well in check.
Nothing too over the top. We're going to give this band a 7 out of 10. Huge potential for these guys.
Lots of potential. Now, if you're in Denver, Colorado, and you haven't yet burnt to a crisp, go check them out.
So, to In the Company of the Serpents, we say thank you for sending us in your music.
Alright, so that was this week's show.
If you look in the description, you'll find our email. Send us in your music. We want to review it.
Like our videos and please subscribe to our channel.
Also, you can follow us on Twitter.
Check us out on Facebook.
And lastly, comment down below to tell us what albums you want us to review for next week, or just tell us how we fucked up.
This is TheMetalness.